Hello and welcome to Green Healing, where we discuss alternative and natural healing from abuse and CPTSD. I learned today that actor Adam Driver walked out of an interview, and I want to discuss why that's important for those of us who have boundaries issues or who need to assert ourselves more, have anxiety, or complex post-traumatic stress disorder, complex post-traumatic stress response. Why this is important for us and a reminder of what we need to do as well when it's necessary. So Adam Driver is most notably known for recently being Kylo Ren in the new Star Wars trilogy. And he was being interviewed, and he does not like to watch himself back. He doesn't watch clips, and so an interviewer should know that. And I don't know if the interviewer knew that or didn't, but they played a clip of him singing in a role that he previously played, and so he walked out of the interview. His boundaries had been made clear previously, whether the interviewer knew it or not. If the interviewer didn't know, should have done the research, and his boundaries were not respected. What he did to walk out of the interview is he himself respected his boundaries. We are not obliged to continue to engage in a conversation that does not respect our boundaries. And funny enough, I was working on this today with my EFT therapist. So serendipity, whether you're being interviewed, whether it's a grand event, whether it's a special occasion like the holidays, you are allowed to walk away from a conversation where the other person does not respect your boundaries. If it's a situation where they should have known in advance those boundaries, like with Adam Driver, you can walk away without saying anything. And you're always allowed to walk away without saying anything if you're not able to find the words to express yourself. I personally prefer to announce if I can, if the person is unaware, if, for example, they start playing the what if game. You say, sorry, I cannot engage in, I don't do the what if game. It's not healthy for me. I cannot engage in conversation. You know, it can be as simple as stating that if they want to engage in conversation with me, we have to talk about something else because I'm not comfortable talking about this. Or, you know, whatever the reason. I tend to justify myself more with close family. But with strangers, a polite statement is something I like to do more. But whether you announce it, justify it, or just walk away, you're allowed to walk away from any conversation. Interview, regular conversation with a family member, with a stranger, at an event, in your house, anywhere. We need to respect our boundaries. Sometimes we are not aware of other people's boundaries and they let us know and we can respect their boundaries. So I like to let people know so that I give them the opportunity to respect my boundaries. What happens a lot is whether it's from trauma growing up or from abuse, we feel as though we're not allowed. That's oftentimes the issue. It has been with me in many situations, as though because I started this conversation, I have to see it through to the end. Or because I committed to going to this event, I have to converse with these people before I can leave. Or because I said I would do this interview, if there is to be an interview, I have to commit to the whole thing, to staying to the end. And those are falsities. It's not true. What we have to absolutely commit to at all costs is respecting our boundaries. We have to respect our boundaries. And the people around us whether they are consciously trying to disrespect us or not, they're not going to be the first people to respect our boundaries if we don't tell them first necessarily. I mean, someone who really doesn't know, then they really don't know, I tell them. But people who don't care, they're not going to respect our boundaries. Some people just aren't going to respect them no matter what. But we can respect our boundaries. When we respect our boundaries, those who respect us will also respect our boundaries. It doesn't mean that if we have trouble respecting our boundaries, other people won't respect them. But it will reinforcing our boundaries and respecting our own boundaries is going to help with what goes on around us a lot. It has helped me with what goes on around me a lot. It helps others know what my boundaries are that need to be respected. Some people by default are more empathetic or more sensitive and a lot more respectful than others. Others, once they know, they're apologetic and then they respect. And some people just don't care. And it's the people who just don't care, whether they care or not, we need to always respect our boundaries. Sometimes it's really difficult. We have those barriers that keep us from truly knowing what our boundaries are, to keep us knowing how to assert ourselves, especially if we have anxiety, if we've experienced trauma. It can be difficult to be assertive. It can be very difficult to respect our boundaries. And what happened with Adam Driver, it's a reminder that this person who's well known, he doesn't care what his image will look like or what people will say about him walking out of this interview. He respected his boundary, thus respecting himself, and that came first. And everything else was secondary. And so it's good to have an example and someone you can look up to. He's an actor I admire, so he's someone I can remind myself, this person did it, I can do it too. You know, this situation occurred and this person allowed himself to respect himself. I can allow myself to respect myself too. I can walk away from that conversation. I can walk away from that person. I can discern whether to justify or explain or announce it politely or to not say anything. I can choose. I can walk away. I choose what conversations, and I can walk away from anyone and anything that does not respect my boundaries. And I can express what those boundaries, when I know what those boundaries are, when they are clear, I can express them so that the people close to me, the people around me, know to respect them. And I expect them to express what their boundaries are so that I can respect theirs as well. So this is very important for us to remember, that we can walk away if someone is not respecting our boundaries, just like Adam Driver did. Especially that I've been working on it, especially today. It can serve as a reminder for me that this person I look up to, this person I admire, gave himself this allowance. I can do it too, if I didn't know so before. And you can do it too. You're allowed. You can walk away. You don't have to engage in a conversation where someone is not respecting your boundaries, even if you've committed to that previously. You've committed to it so long as your boundaries are respected. And you can walk away from that. And you can feel good about that. And I know it's difficult. I know the anxiety with just walking away. And I'm not able to walk away without saying anything. I have to at least politely announce it or let the person know I can't continue this conversation like this. It's not healthy for me. Please, you know, and if they insist, please respect that. I can't, I'm not able to just walk away without saying anything. Maybe you are, you know, And I was working on this today and like, yes, I'm allowed. You know, I am allowed. You're allowed. And he was allowed. So we're all allowed. And that's the importance of our boundaries. And sometimes we don't know what those boundaries are. That's why I've been working on that for a while. And I encourage everyone to work on figuring out what their boundaries are so that they're clear to you. Even if they're not clear to someone else, they're clear to you. And even if they're not clear to you, you can feel if you're not comfortable in a situation, you can walk away at any time. You're allowed. So I hope this little thought has helped you in some way. Share this video with anyone you think it might benefit. I hope that it will help you in more stressful, anxious, anxiety-prone times during the holidays. And remember, empower yourself and be emotionally free.